Welcome back, Cub Swanson here to the program. Get ready to face off on UFC on Fox 19, Hacran Dias, April 16th in Tampa, Florida. Cubs in, obviously, California boy, and very proud of it, is actually in Albuquerque right now training. What's it like? I mean, we talked to guys from TriStar, and TriStar has dorms. So everybody's in a walking distance from the gym. It looks like in your background that you're at a extended stay type hotel. Does Jackson Winklejohn not have dormitories, or is it just that there's so many people there right now that you have to go to a hotel?
Yeah, the dorms are completely full. So they have dorms, and then they have kind of apartments. So the apartments are nice. I stayed in one before. It's got a washer and dryer and kitchen in it, and a bedroom, and a bathroom. And then the dorms are like bigger rooms with a bunch of bunk beds and stuff like that. So the whole thing is completely packed. So a bunch of us are staying over here at the extended stay.
If you don't mind me asking, who else is in the hotel with you? Like, is it? I mean, because it seems like that. I mean, is it? How is that? Well, let me ask you this: how is the hierarchy done for the apartments? Is it just whoever gets in first gets the rooms, or is there a particular hierarchy? Like John Jones is going to get an apartment. Holly Holm obviously lives there, but she would get the apartment because they're higher up on the ranking system. How does it work?
It's pretty much whoever books it. I mean, the dorms at the gym you're talking about, right? Yeah. So by price, the dorm rooms are cheaper, and then the apartments are a little bit more expensive. And then they're getting booked out so far in advance that a bunch of us just are staying here at the extended stay. They give us a good deal over here, and it's a little bit nicer. And it's some of us like to get away from the gym, so.
Yeah, that and you have at least for sure you have someone coming in and cleaning it up every couple of days.
Yeah.
Which helps
Yeah,
out quite a bit.
it's actually pretty cool. They have coffee and breakfast every morning, so I'm always over there, and the coffee thing is never empty. So that's a plus for me. I had to go to Walmart and buy my own gigantic mug so that I could have enough for myself, and then they come and clean the room usually when I'm at the gym, and so it's nice.
Yeah. How about laundry though? Because obviously you're going through 2 changes a day.
Yeah, yeah. So I just, I have it all in a bin, and then, I do it, twice a week. There's a laundry mat here, so that's a little bit of a pain, but whatever.
Yeah, it's not too bad. And you're
Yeah,
dealing with there's a bunch of other fighters that stay in there as well, so you're not really worrying about anybody stealing your gear. Because if
yeah,
they did, you'd see it the next day in practice anyway. So it's like, yeah, it makes it nice.
exactly.
Okay, so I mean, obviously we talked before that you could have gone anywhere. I mean, you were good enough to go to call any camp and show up, and you've been welcomed. You really like Jackson Winklejohn, and you seem to be doing very well. Like your techniques come up, your confidence inside the cage has come up. Obviously, your striking power has never really been an issue, but your technique to get to striking, to get to that power space, has really come up. Is that all because of Jackson Winklejohn, or is it part of it because you just got older and you got smarter about how to fight?
Well, I mean, really, we have a lot of different coaches here. A lot of credit to Wink, a lot of credit to Brandon Gibson, a lot of credit to Greg. And then, back home, I got my boxing coaches, Joel and Antonio Diaz. We got 4 wrestling coaches here right now. Then I got Barata and Tusa that have been helping me, not to mention all the guys. So, just striking alone, I have so many coaches, but then overall MMA, it's a team thing, and just being getting different looks from people, and just being open-minded, especially being so far into my career. You never want to be like, oh, I know it all, because obviously you don't. It's ever evolving.
And we've seen that with a lot of fighters. They just can't seem to get out of their own way when it comes to learning something. They have a particular style they want to stick with. And yeah, I get, you're a wrestler and you want to stick with wrestling because that's what got you to the table. But you still have
Yeah.
to learn other things. And it's like there's almost 2 types of athletes in MMA. The ones that get away from what that got them there, and the ones that will only stick to what got them there, and then they don't really learn. It's now becoming a little bit more where there's guys more like you that they're like, look, I got to step out of my comfort zone. I got to leave and go someplace else, spend a little bit of money, but learn and try to get out. Try to get out of my own way in that kind of sense. How important is this fight coming up to show the hierarchy, like where you belong within the ranking system of the weight?
I think it's a pretty important fight for me. Just being, you know, I lost my last two, and they were top guys, and this guy's ranked number 10. So, I mean, it shows that I belong in the top 10, which I feel like I do. But even for myself, I just need to get a win, and not only that, I need to dominate. This guy's never been finished. I'd like to finish him. I'd like to make a statement. Hopefully get another fight and say that I'm this fight and one more fight from being back in title contention. And that's just what I expect of myself.
With this, and the reason why I was asking this, because with this kind of pressure, you're very goal-oriented as a person. Mm-hmm. This does put more pressure on you. You had it very well. You have a very good poker face. But being a former athlete, I know there's pressure in there. I've just come off of 2 losses. Let's be honest. Losing to Frankie Edgar, losing to Max Holloway, it's not so bad. It's not like you slipped on a banana peel. I mean, these are two, the 3 of you guys are all studs. So it's not like it's a loss, but it's not a bad loss in that sense. Is it harder for you to knowing that, hey, this is a really a win situation for me? I've got to get out there. I've got to get a win. I've got to prove I belong in the top 10, like you said. Is it harder for you to keep learning new things throughout training camp during a high pressure situation like this?
It's put pressure on me just to get better. So I mean, I'm feeling that in the gym, just that pressure on myself to get better, to pick up new techniques. It's made me hungry just to search out people. I've really found a good niche with Barata. We just gone over every choke defense and just getting good at it. Just little things like that to where you're a little bit more confident in every scenario on the ground. Putting myself in bad situations, wrestling, and being confident, and then just being able to open up my game again. There was a time when I was just very free flowing, and then it got to a point where everyone's like, they're going to try to take you down. Don't let them take you down. So then your game just starts to shrink, and you're very just very basic, and then you're easier to figure out. So I've just been doing everything in my power to be confident in every position so that I can be free flowing again and make them fear all my attacks.
So you have your boxing coaches in California, and then you have your boxing coaches over obviously at Jackson Winklejohn's. Is there conflict between the 2 sets of boxing coaches when it comes to technique and style? And is there conflict really between any of your coaches from California, Jackson Winklejohn? I'm not saying conflict like that. They rub each other the wrong way, but this one coach teaches me to jab this way, this one coach teaches me to jab this way. Is there any of that going on?
Early on, when I first started doing the back and forth thing between Jackson's and California, 5 years ago, every time I would come back, they'd be like, quit standing like this, quit doing this, and then I just take a deep breath and get yelled at and be like, okay, and did not say, oh, well, my other coach told me to do it like this and be that guy. So in the beginning, it was a little rough, but over time, I got good at adjusting, and I take the best of everything, and over time, they trusted me enough to go, okay, I know that you have your other coach, and so now they're always asking me, what have you been working? Let's build on it. So there's a lot of trust and a lot of building, and nobody wants to step on each other's toes. So it's all learning and all good.
I've got to ask, you're not in the top 3% pay wise for the UFC. It's not like you're making $1 million every time you fight with back end deals and all these other sponsorships. You're not struggling by any means, but you're not you're not rich. Okay, you're not wealthy, but you're paying a lot of coaches. You're paying a lot of people to be a part of your camp. Whether it's out of hard camp, in California, we're just trying to stay loose in case you get your phone call, and then getting over to Jackson, it can't be cheap. Is it? It's got. I mean, obviously, you're gonna say yes, it's worth it. You've been doing it for 5 years. Yes, it's worth it to keep paying everybody, to keep this ride going. But do you sometimes look at it why I should cut back on this or cut back on that, just from a financial standpoint?
It crosses my mind, but it can be tough. I think the only time you really are pained by it is when you lose, because you make half the money. When you win and you get a bonus, I take care of everybody. When you lose is when it's harder. You still got to take care of everybody, but I mean, they understand that they're getting a smaller check because it's percentage based and stuff like that. But I mean, like I said, when you're winning, it's all good, and when you're losing, it's like, God, that's rough,
So since November of you only fought once in 2015. November of 2014, you fought Frankie Edgar. April 2015, you fought Max Holloway. So last two, essentially almost 2 years, you've been on a losing space.
Yeah.
You have a lot of other things outside of fighting that you do to maintain income coming in between fights, or is MMA, when you are inside that cage on that Saturday night when Bruce Buffer's announcing your name, the only time that you make money?
It's pretty much my only big financial gain. I mean, I have the clothing line. I try to do, appearances here and there. I try to do seminars, but I don't do a whole lot. The monthly sponsors have kind of dried out. So yeah, fighting's my main thing, and the reason I've survived is because my car's paid off, my home's paid off. I don't have a lot of overhead, and I'd say majority of my spending is on food and training. So everything's going back into the sport, and then every time I make a good chunk of change to like invest it in a piece of property or something, because I don't need to be hood rich and go buy something fancy or something. I'm really trying to secure my future with this fighting and do it as long as I can. And then when I walk away, I want to be able to be like, all right, I'm happy with what I did with the money I made, not be like, oh man, I can't believe I spent 20 grand in Vegas, like, a lot of these guys do. So I don't want to be that guy.
You said you paid your house off already. Did you take one of the bonus checks to pay off the rest of the house and just be done with it?
Yeah, a couple, bonus checks and fight bonuses and win bonuses and all that. When I was fighting back to back to back, I saved all my money. I was still driving a car with no air conditioning in 120-degree heat. So, yeah, people were giving me crap, calling me a cheap bastard and stuff. But then I bought a house, and that was always my biggest thing. When I had that really bad injury before I made my debut in the UFC, was I never know when it's going to end. So if I could at least have a home out of this whole fighting thing, that I could work at Subway or, which probably not, but if I needed to, all I got to do is pay for my food and I could survive. You know what I mean? So it just make it easier on myself. So that was my goal, my first goal.
That's smart. Actually, that's really smart. I hope a lot of other athletes in every sport listen to you, because I've seen football players, baseball players, they get those big signing checks. I mean, obviously make way more money than MMA fighters do, and they go out there and blow half their paycheck, half their signing bonus in Vegas. And then they're like, and then you see them 5 years after they retire from the sport, and they're in a car with no air conditioning and living in a small little apartment. They go, what the hell did you do with all the money? Well, I spent it all.
Yeah. But it's like roughly 75% of all NBA and NFL players will go bankrupt within 5 years of retiring. And it's just insane. And the ones that have made money, almost all of them have got franchises in companies, So that was one thing, my manager's always been huge with me. He's got a steady job. He's always done very well, and he's always told me, look, I have a job. I'm going to be set. What are you going to do after? Let's prepare. So he's always been, hitting that in my head for my whole career. So what I decided to do was I franchised the UFC gym, and I partnered up with them, and I'm an ambassador for them. So I'll be opening up 1 or 2 UFC gyms in my hometown.
Wow, that's awesome. Obviously, at Jackson's, BJ Penn comes to mind. That's what BJ did in the state of Hawaii. He's got 2 gyms in Hawaii, and they are the most packed gyms in the entire state. Like they are jammed up. It is honestly the one in Kakako, which is just outside Honolulu, downtown Honolulu, is probably one of the nicest gyms I've ever been in anywhere in the world. Like it's absolutely amazing. It's all UFC branded. It's the same thing that you're going to have at your place in your hometown. So it's like it's a great investment.
Yeah, Frankie Edgar just opened one. Uriah Faber's opening one. I think Michael Bisping's opening one. So, and I know a lot of fighters are interested, and they're popping up all over the world. So I think it's going to be big. For me, it's a way to stay with the company for a long period of time. And for me, the biggest thing is I've always wanted a job after this that makes people happy and is not screwing people out of money. I'm not trying to sell somebody something that they don't need. I want to sell somebody something that I know they need, and I know that would make them feel better. Make me happy at the end of the day.
That's awesome. That's really good, Cub. I really like that attitude, and I got chicken skin when you told me that your house is paid off. I mean, that's fucking huge. Like being able to walk away and go, look, my house is paid off. That things are bad right now. I God forbid any of this happens, but I got injured. I got cut. I don't know what to do. Okay, all I got to do is go to Subway, get a minimum wage job, and I'll be okay. Like that's huge. That's a big weight off your shoulder. And it also allows you to be the full man that you want to be, because you're not worrying about, I got to go fight this fight. I have to go because I got to pay my mortgage payment. You're like, I'm hurt. I'm a little injured. I don't want to. Oh, you know what? I don't like that fight. I'm gonna say no. Like I can go ahead and ride it out. I got enough to help me survive. That's great, man. That's a huge weight off your shoulder. I wish a lot more athletes would do that in any sport. I don't care what sport.
And that's why I was able to take this whole year off. I told them, they were asking me, do you want to fight? And I was telling them, I'm taking my time. I took a bunch of time off to heal up. I had broke my thumb and broke my jaw. So I took time off. I traveled a little bit, and that was because I had money saved up. And then I got back in the gym. I got back in the gym, August? And I've been training, and I've just been trying to get better, working on stuff. I was in Chicago wrestling. I was in Orange County. I'm just trying to get better and getting to a point where I'm like, okay, I've gotten better at these things that I needed to get better at, and I'm ready. And so we booked me a fight, and here we are.
Wow, good for you. Can't wait to watch the fight. I think this is going to be a really good competition for you. I think it's a great fight back. And I do believe that it'll keep you in the top 10 when you win this fight. And then really, like you said earlier, 1 or 2 fights after that. So you have like 3 or 2 fights that you have to win, and then you're in. You're back in the title. That's really what it is. Last question before I let you out of here. BJ Penn obviously is at camp training. He's down at 45 now. Has he been part of your rolling team at all? Have you had to go with him at all during sparring time or anything like that? Or has it been a kind of a separation? He's doing his thing right now, and you're doing your thing.
Oh no, we've got a lot of rounds in. It's pretty cool. Just being around him, we've got to hang out a lot. We got to just kind of, trade moves, talk experience, and then got a lot of good rounds in. I've been pretty honored to have him in camp, and it's been crazy how many people we have here right now. The Pettis brothers are here right now. I've gotten amazing rounds, and just to have a guy like that I've looked up to my whole career, be a part of it has been an honor. And he's one tough dude.
I interviewed Max Holloway and asked him the same question a couple weeks ago. BJ's at the weight. At some point, a guy like that, if you're moving up the ranks, they're going to call you and ask you to fight him. It's going to be one of those situations. He's obviously a legend. He's a guy you look up to. Will you be able to set all that aside to go punch him in the face?
I think I could do that with anybody, but I just don't. I think there's enough people in the division. There's enough people calling him out that there's no need for it. At this point, I'd rather learn from him. Than I was kind of getting pissed off. A lot of people are calling him out right now, and I'm like, that's kind of chicken shit of you guys. You see him being older, you think he doesn't have it anymore, and you're trying to take, you write off of his name, and it's like, all right, I hope he whoops your ass.
That really, a lot of it, that's really what it is. A lot of them are trying to get that, hey, I want to be the one that knocked down the legend. I want to put him down. And let's be honest. The last time BJ was competing before he retired and came back for this stint, he didn't do very well against Frankie Edgar. He basically got embarrassed by Frankie. So for you to call a guy out like, hey, I want to go and try and beat this legend, it's like, why would you even bother? He's coming off a losing streak anyway. Like he's already on a losing streak. Like, why bother calling him out? It really doesn't do anything financially. It's not it's not going to entertain the fans anymore. The people are going to watch the fight because of BJ, not because he's fighting somebody else. They care about BJ, not his opponent. So it is kind of a weird situation. Let's not forget you guys are trained together. So it's different if you were still in California and only training in California. You might have a different attitude, but I get it. If you get a chance to learn from BJ, shit, I want to learn from BJ, and I'm not even in the game anymore. Like I want to sit down with him and talk and figure stuff out. So it's incredible. I'm glad that you have such a really good outlook and a really good team kind of put together. And now with Jones and Home and Pettis brothers there and BJ, like you're surrounded by the elite now, the former elites, and the legends of the sport. Like it's incredible. Who you have around you right now. Even if you didn't want to get better, you'd still get better there.
Yeah, seriously. I mean, and it's crazy because I think the last time I was here, before I went back home, it was when I was in Chicago. I was with Izzy, our wrestling coach. He's kind of stocky guy, his weight fluctuates. And we came down and we put together a quick wrestling session, and we were just drilling. And it was me, Holly, Alistar, Overeem, and Izzy. And the four of us were just rotating drills. And it was just such a weird dynamic of group of people. But it was just awesome because all of us were just like, okay, just trying to learn. But it was like, you wouldn't put those four people together, as for a wrestling group. But, it happens here all the time. Just whoever wants to train, we're training.
What's it like drilling with Alistair Overeem? He's so big. He's huge.
It's actually really cool. Me and him talk strategy, and we kind of like, he's always trying to pick my brain. It's a little weird right now just because him and Andre are fighting because they're both training here and they're both my friends. So we're not really talking strategy, but before the fight, me and him, he's always picking my brain. It's weird. He's like starting to fight more like a little guy now.
Which actually the heavyweight division is a huge thing.
Yeah. The way he fought Junior Dos Santos was just like, that was a perfect fight for him. It was crazy the way he fought him. Just, frustrated him, cut angles, switch stance. It was awesome.
Wow, that's great. Cub, I'm sorry I kept you on here too long. I'm sorry we got chatting. I apologize, man. Great. Thank you so much for coming on here. Appreciate it. Have fun in Albuquerque as much as you can during training camp. Stay out of trouble and enjoy yourself, man. Enjoy the ride. Enjoy the fight. Don't let the pressure get to you at all because you're destined to get back up in the top 5. Just need a couple more wins. It'd be great.
I feel the same. I appreciate that, man. I'm going to come see you in Hawaii soon.
Yeah, please do. Please do. Anytime you come out here, doors open. Come on over. We'll hang out for sure.
Hell yeah. All right. All right, later.